Yeah, well, I think we're looking forward to bouncing back. I think there was a lot of emotions coming out of the game on Wednesday. I think uh, when you in the cold light today, when you analyse the whole game, it's a game where we had a load of chances to score. You think about the 16 games we've had at home, that was only our third defeat. So I think, and the goals that we scored at home, I think there was 39 goals we scored at home. So I think my feeling at the end of the game was no different today. That there was probably always going to be one game where our forwards just didn't fire, and it just didn't go for us. We missed an incredible opportunity, I feel, to be up the table. I think that's the biggest disappointment. I think that's why. And I've been through with the team this morning about the number of goals we've scored from 80 minutes onwards. I think it's something between 14 to 17, give or take 1 or 2 minutes. So, and that's all scored from 80 minutes onwards, where we've kept our composure and we've kept our discipline. And I just felt in the last 10 minutes of the game, the game got ugly, the game got stretched. We were making poor decisions, and I think that was probably the emotion at the end of the game, was that desperation to get them points. Meant that we lost some of what we are about, and I think that's the disappointment. Now we can't sulk around. We've got a big game on Sunday. I'd say that the positive about playing Sundays, two positives, is that we get an extra day's rest, which is crucial. I think there was so many tired teams playing on Wednesday night, and there will be this weekend. Imagine if tomorrow was the game, I think we would probably not be able to pick the team that I want to pick on Sunday. So I think that extra day gives us extra rest. And at least on Sunday, we will know exactly where we are, what we have to do, and because the results will have come in. So we still have aspirations to finish in 8th, finish in 7th, but we know that probably that's not in our hands now. So it's about focusing on us, knowing full well that we've qualified, I think, for the playoffs, barring a miracle, and we've got to make sure that we return to what we do best, and that's put on a convincing show at home on Sunday.
Peter Luson's been in charge of FC Dallas for quite some time now, since he took over as interim halfway through the season. Obviously, they're out of the playoff picture, but he's still potentially coaching for the full-time job.
Yeah.
What's FC Dallas's identity at this point in the season? What will they look to do against you guys?
Well, I think what we'll face on Sunday is a similar type of scenario to what we faced against Austin. We faced a team that probably this season was over. And they are incredibly dangerous games. I think if you've watched Austin over the last 3 or 4 games, you probably wouldn't have seen that result coming on Wednesday. And Dallas have got a manager who's done really well, who's fighting for his job, who obviously wants the job at Dallas, I think. And they've got players who have been out probably, maybe Velasco and Ferreira have been out a lot of the season, that will probably want to finish the season really strong. They've got really good attacking players. They play with a really attractive style, open style. They play a really good football, a good system. And it will be a difficult game. But like I say, I think when we get to this stage of the season with 2 games to go, it's more about us and not the opposition. It's more about our concentration, our discipline, our style, our performance levels, our confidence levels, our belief levels. And that's what really we're focusing on for Sunday, because I think when you play these types of teams at this stage of the season, the first goal is always crucial. I think if we get the first goal, then I think I'm really confident that we can win the game.
Phil, you mentioned the amount of tired legs across the league on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Knowing that you guys have a 2-week break after this game on Sunday, how do you manage the minutes of the players who have played so much recently? And do you think that 2-week break is a benefit for you guys, or is it something that could throw rhythm off and something like that?
We don't like the 2-week breaks. It just breaks the rhythm of every team. But I think it will mean that we can get some rest. I think apart from Max and Miguel, I think they're the only 2 players that maybe are going away on this break. So we've got everybody back here training. So we can manage that. We can prepare for Seattle game, which is a massive game for the Cascadia Cup. When I talk about tired legs, it's really tired minds, not legs, because the legs aren't tired. It's just the minds that are tired. That's what I said to them this morning. And the mind is a wonderful thing, because you can overcome so much with making sure that you train your mind to make sure that on Sunday, with the extra day's rest, with what's the opportunity that's there in front of us, means that there is no excuse for tiredness. And they can take 5, 6, 7. We can rest them for however long we want after this game. That's what the 2-week break will give us. But and the thing is that every other team in the country, every other team in the conference is the same. They've all played the same. We've all played the same amount of matches. We've all done the same amount of travel. Maybe we've done a little bit more, but we've had 2 home games this week, so that gives us an advantage. They've had 2 away games this week. That gives us an advantage. So we hope that swells the pendulum in our favour.
Hi, Coach. Just 2 player availability questions. The first one, just Mason Toye. Earlier, you said that he was the timeline. He's probably going to be back around decision day. Has that timeline changed in any way? And also, Finn Sermon was in the team on Wednesday. Is there a possibility that he could get some T2 minutes this weekend?
No. Finn won't be in the T2. He's obviously, it's the first time this season I've had to leave somebody off the bench. If you looked at the bench, we had Miguel, we had Zach. It was crazy to have 3 centre backs on the bench, plus Eric Miller, who's played there as well. So it's really unlucky for Finn. He deserves to be on the bench. He deserves to have minutes. He's playing and training incredibly well, but he knows he has to be a little bit patient. I think with Mason, he's making, from the injury that he had, and bearing in mind that it was an injury that occurred in a situation where he didn't even get the foul. He had probably an injury that probably most footballers don't get to his back. He's making incredible strides. He's now on the Alter-G machine, the machine that you can run on with a little bit of gravity off. He's working 2-3 times a day. He knows that he has to get himself back quick. The initial report was probably 6 to 8 weeks. I think he's shaving weeks off every single day, and that's why I said that decision day or just after is looking a little bit more positive now with the injury that he got. It's a day-to-day thing. He's now touching the ball a little bit, but it's a delicate injury to the back, and we're incredibly impressed with how hard he's working, the durability of which he's trying to come back, and we just hope that we can get him back, because we need him. We need depth on our bench in terms of our attacking. On Wednesday night we had Tega, we had Marvin, and we had Anthony as attacking players really to go on. So we need him back for our depth.
Thanks. Phil, 2 questions. The nervy scenario against an opposition team that is trying to finish, with a good look at the game can present itself again with Dallas.
Yeah.
And you were talking about how at the end of the game, the team lacked the calmness, the good decision-making to stick to the plan. With that scenario again presented, which players should be the ones dictating this, demanding this? Because it may be hard from the sideline to get that spirit inside at that time of the game.
Yeah, well, I think, you could say, we're looking at Diego Chara, but Diego Chara wasn't on the field. You're looking at Chara because he's the captain, but I think every single player should know that in the last 20 minutes. And what I was really strong on with the group this morning, I went through the amount of goals that we scored from 80 minutes onwards. Same players, same team, same scenarios, 3-0 down, 2-0 down, 2-1 down, 2-2 against Minnesota. Is that same players, same situations. We've just got to make better decisions. And, I think there was a couple of decisions where, for instance, Evander kicks it 40, 50 yards and the keeper just comes out and collects it. That's not what we're about. That's not our identity. That's not the identity and quality of the player. It's playing a little bit higher up. It's making sure that we get the ball wide. We switch of play. We take the extra pass. We believe and trust what we've done in the past. And I think that's really was my frustration at the end of the game is that they went off the script. They went off what they've done. They went off what we believe in. They went off what really this team has done all year. 17 goals scored from 80 minutes onwards is an incredible stat. And I think in those situations, what what you do. You think of golfers, you think of tennis players. When you hit that critical moment in seasons, in tournaments, in games, you fall back on your default, which is trust the plan, trust your practice, trust what we've been teaching you, trust what we've done. And what we've done is we've scored late goals. Now it was that kind of night where you just felt that every shot went straight at the keeper. Every shot that was parried went out of play. Every decision, half decision, seemed to go their way. And that's no excuse, but you get nights like that. And so to answer your question, who am I looking for? I'm looking for every single player on that pitch to believe and trust in what we're doing. Believe in the plan, trust the plan, execute the plan. Whether that's the first minute, the 80th minute, or the 107th minute like we scored against Minnesota. And I say that with incredible confidence because the players we put on the field have all played a part in that. That, you know, our subs, our game changers have come on, have played a big part in that. So I think because this club has not had success for the last 2 years, because we've not been in the playoffs for the last 2 years, there was just a little bit of desperation because maybe we just thought it was going to be easy. Maybe we just thought we were just going to turn up, beat Austin and Dallas, and we're going to be in 5th position. Life doesn't work like that. Nobody comes and knocks at your door and gives you a playoff spot, a medal, a trophy, a goal. You've got to work your absolute goddamn hardest. And you've got to earn every point that you get in this league. It's a difficult, unforgiving league. Wednesday night was one of those unforgiving moments where we lost the game and everyone after the game was feeling a little bit sorry for themselves. And I'd say that this morning we had to change that.
The next one is, I think, connected with that one because it goes through what you said earlier. It is the mind, right?
Yeah.
You have their mind in the right place at that moment, you take better decisions.
Yeah.
And bodies may not be as tired as minds. How is the club, how is the coaching staff helping players to train their minds? What are they doing exactly? Like, what is the plan to help them?
I think when you talk about training for critical moments, the way that we train is that we train hard and we fight easy, you know. So when we have our Tuesdays and Wednesdays sessions where it's really, you know, overload days, we take them beyond their capabilities. And every Wednesday we take that bar, that training level, that training load a little bit higher, a little bit further, so that when you get to competition, you've trained when you're fatigued. Because that's the real difficult thing, is training when you're fatigued, to make decisions when you're fatigued. The other night when we were making decisions, because when your mind goes tired, the decision-making goes. You know yourself, in if you're writing an article and you're tired, your article's not as good as when you're fresh. It's no different. So I'd say that we've just got to trust the process that we've had done all season. We've trained them really incredibly hard. There's players in, 90% of that team has trained every single day. Every single minute of every single session of every single day. That means that they are durable. That means that they are ready. That means that they are mentally tough. Because we've trained them really hard, it means that when you get to the critical moments under the most pressure, they should be ready. Now, it doesn't always work out that way. You're going to make decisions that don't quite are the right decisions. Wednesday night was one of those. So what you do, you reset the mind a little bit and remember them about what we've been through this season. 9-10 games without a defeat. Half-time against San Jose, the crowd not being happy with us. 3-0 down in Kansas. Everyone thinking, here we go again, Portland Timbers. These are moments that you fall back on, that you trust. It's like a golfer. What does he do? Goes out there and practice. When he gets to the Ryder Cup and it's the 18th green and you've got a shot to win the Ryder Cup, you trust what you've done in the past. You trust your practice. You trust your methods. You trust what you've done. You've got a bank of work that you trust, and that's what we've got to do in these moments. And I'd say that's what I've told them this morning. That was a lecture, wasn't it, really? But